We're going live. What's up, guys? No one knows we're live yet, so here we go.
My head looks massive.
Let's see if anybody clicks on here. I don't know if anybody will or not. What's up, guys? What the hell? We're out
Happy
and about.
2022.
Happy 2022. 2022.
Oh, look, it says on my phone that you're live.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe people will jump on here.
Oh,
I didn't.
That one person must be me.
This is impromptu. I haven't advertised this at all. In fact, I don't even. Is this public? Is it public or did I make it private?
I believe it's public. I got a notification.
All right, so we'll give it a couple minutes. We'll see if anyone joins on. In the meantime, what's up, guys? Happy 2022. Salud. So, Tiff and I got the day off.
Oh, I see OJ22 joined.
OJ, what's up, man? And this is our last day off before we get back to the grind for 2022. Or back in the grind.
No more alcohol.
No more
in other
alcohol,
words.
no more cheat days, you know. So this is like the last day of holiday chill, whatever. So we're out and about, and we're chilling, and like, not a lot of people are out right now. A lot of people are working today and stuff, but we had the day off, so we're chilling here in this bar, like this upstairs loft area. There's no one here yet. It doesn't really get busy here until like 8, 9 o'clock. So we thought, what the hell, let's go live and say hi. Hi. There's not much boxing to discuss.
I don't know. Johnny Combat says,
Johnny's
save me a
what's up,
slice.
what's up, John? Oh, yeah, you saw that?
And then Knott says Martin versus Ortiz pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, well, it's the only pay-per-view we've had so far, so fine, you can take that. But Johnny was just referring to, we just checked out this place here in Atlanta that had this Detroit-style pizza.
It's pretty good.
It was pretty good. And like we got there, they said that they didn't have the dough yet for the regular Detroit pizza. It hadn't rose yet, but all they had was gluten-free. And I was like, oh man, what the fuck?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it really was. And they said, yo, it's the best gluten-free you've ever had. Try it. So I gotta say, it was still the thick crust, Detroit style, like deep dish pan pizza. The cheese and the toppings and all that were the same. It was really, really good. The pepperoni under the cheese, that's like the secret to Detroit style. You put the toppings, then the cheese, then the sauce on top. And I thought it was good. Was it as good as Buddy's?
No.
Buddy's is still the best, man. Buddy's is my favorite, but only the original Buddy's. And only you guys from Detroit will know what I'm talking about. The first time I took her and there was a dude, security guy in the parking lot with an M16. I'm not bullshitting. Fucking sitting there, tell me, am I lying? Sitting there in the booth with a fucking M16.
I thought I was gonna die.
That's in the parking lot. That tells you the neighborhood it's in. You come into the parking lot, yeah, they hire a security guard with a fucking M16 as you come in.
It was so good.
But it's really good. Good beers, good pizza, yeah.
I mean, beer is beer, but
Yeah.
pizza?
This is some mixed fruity ass drink, but there's some bourbon in it. It's not bad. What is yours?
Gin.
Oh, gin.
I'm a gin drinker.
She lives. Oh, I'm getting a notification on my phone. Watch now, Michael Montero live on my own phone. It only took 5 minutes.
Delayed. We're all a little slow from the New Year's.
You too, man. Midwest Boxing says machine gun slices. Hell yeah, brother. I know you know what's up. You're from Chicago. James says blessings to the Montero family. Thank you so much. You guys, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you saw me post the pictures of my little nephew Enzo, and we went up to see my sister in North Carolina, and she has 2 sons now, and one of them is literally a month old.
Yes.
So we were just helping with the little dude, and she has another one that's about to turn 3. So he's like a little Napoleon right now. He's like a little tyrant.
I was helping. Mike was, staring.
Yeah, I played with the kid. I'd take him outside and we'd throw rocks and play in the sand and
With
shit.
a 1-year-old? Or
Not
a 1-month-old?
No, with the 3-year-old. Yeah,
Wrong child.
She took care of Enzo. Although I will say this, you gotta give me credit. I fed Enzo once. I've never fed a baby.
Yes, you did.
I
You
held
did good.
I held the kid.
You did good.
And my sister gave me the what was it called? Bottle. the bottle, she, microwave or
My poor future children.
however
are
you make the milk
gonna suffer.
warm, and then she gives it in a bottle, and I fed the kid. I gotta say, it was pretty damn cool to see this tiny little creature like this big laying here on you, just 100% dependent on you, And then, we took a nap and stuff. The kid fell asleep on me. It was really, really cool. So it was kind of a practice run for when we had kids.
You need a lot of practice.
I need a lot of practice. She knows what she's doing.
My poor child.
I think I'll be a good dad. But my mom says we're gonna have 2 daughters.
Yeah, we'll see.
I hope we have one of each. One of each.
So
All
Johnny Combat says there is an old joint where I'm from in Illinois called Quonset. It's there since the 40s, and it's phenomenal.
Is that in Cicero? Johnny, is that in Cicero? Let me know, man, because
And
Cicero
then-
is the old school spot.
Chad Fletcher says hashtag FJB in all 2022.
Chad, I'm not touching that. I gotta leave that one alone, man. I got beat up on Twitter yesterday.
I'm like, what does that mean?
Do the math. FJB.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got
That
it.
means
I'm a little slow today.
fun jobs bankers. I don't know. FJB. Yeah. I'll just leave that one alone.
Let's see. Knot says the Showtime card on Friday is pretty good, Mike.
There's a showbox, right, on Friday?
This coming
Yeah.
Friday?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the first big card of this year, the first one I'm going to cover, is Joe Smith versus Callum Johnson. That's in New York. Not getting up there for that or anything, but that's the first one to me.
When's that one?
It's like the middle of this month. Yeah. So.
Let's see.
What else you got? Yeah, I don't have my laptop here to see your comments. So Tiffany is looking at your comments on her phone, and she'll have to read them over to me. But
Chad says kids change your outlook on everything. You guys will love it.
yeah, let me tell you something.
Yeah,
Chad.
I have a theory that Mike's gonna turn into a complete mush ball when he has a child.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. That I'm going to become a total candy
He's gonna be
ass,
worse than me.
and she'll be like the disciplinarian. I never ever thought I would have kids, and it just seemed like, oh, they're little germ factories. But now, like, I'm actually open to it. So it's something that we're talking about. I'll just put that out there. And I think my sister having kids is what kind of that. And several of my friends, because Jeff had a kid, Chris had a kid, right?
Several years ago.
Yeah, but still, that started to open me up a little bit. It started to open me up a little bit.
Let's see.
I could teach him to hate everything I hate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So important.
Huh?
I said that's so important.
Well, some idiot will take that and post it on Twitter.
Exactly.
See, this is proof.
The LDBC will.
Yes. Jesus Christ. Those guys went so hard after me yesterday. Well, there's like 3 of them. Okay, in fairness, there's like 3 of them, and they're
We
pathetic.
need like a baby onesie that says hashtag LDBC hater.
I don't hate nobody. It takes a lot of energy to hate. I have 0 hate.
All right, so
Seriously.
Olaf the Mighty said, let's talk boxing.
All right, Olaf, what you got?
What did you think of the PBC card on New Year's?
So, okay, I'm going to be totally honest, guys. I watched
I didn't watch it.
the lightweight kid. He's originally from Detroit. I think he now fights out of Indiana. Damn it, I can't think of his name right now. He looked pretty good. And that was on regular Fox. And then it went over to pay-per-view. I would tune in occasionally on the pay-per-view. It was terrible. The pay-per-view just, those heavyweights were sloppy as fuck. A lot of bitch tits. And it just wasn't very entertaining. Frank Sanchez, who I was interested in watching, looked like shit.
Frank Martin or Frank?
No, Sanchez is a Cuban guy. Yeah, Frank Martin's the lightweight kid. Yeah, Frank Martin looked, he stole the show, in my opinion. Main event, everything included, he stole the show. He looked really, really good. And I'm not just saying that because he's from Detroit. He really did look good. Prospect, okay, he's still a prospect, but he looked good. and maybe graduated to junior baby contendership. But the heavyweights look bad, dude. And Luis Ortiz got dropped twice by Charles Barton. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, Reaper Gang Radio says, dude, Ortiz Martin's body looked like body of warm potato salad. It's quality.
No, who is it? Jonathan Rice before then looked, I think he gained like 15 pounds or something. Big dude. I mean, those are big guys, right? And that's what, like, when I watch cards like that, I'm like, I realize I'm not a heavyweight. I'm a cruiserweight all day. These guys are just massive human beings, 270, 280. Yeah, they should weigh 250. But me in shape, I'm barely over 200 pounds in shape. These dudes in shape are 250. These are just massive human beings. So I love watching the heavyweights, but these dudes were just sloppy. It wasn't a very good card. And you guys saw the venue. There wasn't a lot of people in there. It was kind of depressing. And Brian Kenny, I like Brian, but he tries too hard to be like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Dude, just call what you're seeing. Larry Merchant, when a fight was shit, he would say this fight is shit. He would literally diss the fighters to their face back in the day. That old dude on HBO.
Can't do that anymore.
Hell no. And Larry Merchant was barely bigger than you. He was pretty much your size, and like 80. And he would diss these fighters.
Us little people. No mess.
A little bit bitey. He would say this fight sucks, right? And these guys now are just afraid. They always try to sell it up. And it's like, dude, we see what's happening. Just tell us. Just connect with us, the audience, and tell us what's happening. And we'll connect back with you and we'll enjoy what you're doing. But when you're trying to sell us, when it's a turd of dog shit, and you're trying to tell us it's a fucking gold diamond, well, hey, there's some dissonance there. All right, what else we got?
All right, so Johnny Combat says, I got an honest question, Mike. I'm not trying to be a joker. Do you see some red flags with that AJ Usyk rematch? Why would they make him go back to England after he dominated him?
Yeah, I don't think that's a shady question at all, man. I think that's totally appropriate. I will say this. I mean, AJ is still the A side of that promotion, even though he lost. So the money, unless you're getting a $100 million deal from the sheikhs over in Saudi Arabia or something like they did for the Andy Ruiz rematch, the money with that promotion is still with the AJ side. It's kind of similar, somewhat different, but somewhat similar to the Canelo Golovkin thing, right? So Usyk's going to go where the most money is, and his promoter, Eddie Hearn, who controls both sides of that coin there, he's going to go where the most money is too. And that's probably London. So it wouldn't surprise me if it goes back to the UK at all. But if I'm Usyk and his team, don't be naive and make sure that you approve of the judges and the ring officials and you're good to go with the people that they choose. Don't make the mistake Tom Loeffler and Team Golovkin did, because I really think they were naive. And for the record, they'll even tell you, I warned them. Hey man, I read my piece in Boxing Monthly magazine before that fight, where I asked them point blank, can you win a decision against Canelo? And they're like, oh yeah, we ain't even worried about that. Are you sure? I think Usyk might learn from that whole thing. So.
All right, so USC Trojan.
Oh, that's Sanch. What's up, Sanch? What's up, man?
So he says, how do you see Atlanta now that you folks have been living there for a while compared to living in LA?
That's an outstanding question. And I know you're going to have some feedback on this. It's been 3 years. 3 years. Good and bad, of course. I will say this. I'm glad we got out of LA before COVID. We moved in the summer of 2018. We could have stayed for one more year, but I'm so glad we weren't there during COVID. Guys, we lived in a little shoebox of an apartment.
I would have killed him.
In Koreatown. We were talking about this earlier. Koreatown is one of the most densely populated neighborhoods in America. It's basically Manhattan on the West Coast. So it's the most Manhattan-like neighborhood west of like Chicago, right? And that's where we lived. So we were right on top of each other. And to be stuck in that place where we couldn't fucking go outside for 6 months, we would have fucking killed each other. I would have lost my mind. Yeah, and with the mask thing and just everything. And look, I'm not gonna get into the COVID stuff, you know, because I know it's real divisive for people. But I will say here, Florida was the first state to open up, and Georgia was the second. It kind of followed within a week or two, right? I think it was a week or two. And things have been pretty open and free here, where you kind of make your own choice, and you know, you do the best thing for you and your family, which I think personally for me is the right way to live. So in that respect, it's been great. I'll also say this, I'm not going to give raw numbers, but we sold our condo in Koreatown, which is a working class neighborhood, MS-13 gangs, everything right there. There was homeless enclosures right there on our street. We saw girls getting raped on our sidewalk. I mean, we saw all kinds of crazy shit. Sold that condo, bought a house here. You guys have seen some of the pictures, in one of the most nicest exclusive areas of northern Atlanta. We're kind of outside of the city, we're north of the city, but it's still Fulton County. For $250,000 less, right? $250,000 less for a almost 4,000 square foot home on half an acre, great fucking schools. So yeah, do I miss things about LA? Do I miss the infrastructure? Do I miss going to Hollywood events and red carpet shit? And all the people that we knew out there, we get to go to all kinds of exclusive fun things, like on a Tuesday night, a Thursday night. Yeah, of course. You only get that in LA. Maybe in New York. LA and New York, that's it, right? But here, dude, we live in a fucking mansion. We live in a fucking
We live in a manor.
We call it the Montero Manor, right? My family would be like, time to go to Mike's mansion and go visit him in Atlanta. Like, they make fun of it. And it's $250,000 less than our place in LA. It's crazy, dude. So like, and the one thing I will say that surprised me here, there's good food here. There's good restaurants here.
There is.
Like, you would think, oh, Atlanta, you're just gonna get soul food and shit like that. No, dude.
There's everything.
You could get great Indian food. There's a ton of Indian people here, Korean food, Mexican food. There's really good Mexican food here. What? There's a ton of Mexican people in Atlanta.
Decent Thai food.
Yeah, Thai food. There's a good Italian place right down the street from us with really good red gravy. So I'm like pleasantly surprised at the restaurants here. The one thing I don't like about it here, two things.
The bugs. I hate the
fucking bugs in the summertime.
They're the size of Mike's head.
Awful, awful. If you get a mosquito bite here, like
That's me, that's not you.
This year I got a couple bad ones. The ants, you guys saw I built like a retaining wall in the yard and shit, and you pick up a stone to move it, and the ants will crawl into your shirt and bite the shit. I had bites all over my stomach and shit. 10 seconds. Pick up a rock to move it. Motherfuckers, boom, they're on your belly button in 10 seconds. So that and the humidity. It's humid as fuck in the summertime.
Yeah, it is.
Terrible.
The bugs are the worst though.
Well, the bugs and the humidity.
I'll
hand
take
in
the
hand.
humidity over the bugs.
I would too. I'll take a fucking root canal over the bugs.
I
Oh,
don't
Chris
know
Berger
about
with a
that.
super chat. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Yes, Happy New Year. All right, so Anton M says,
Anton, all right.
Mike, Prime Holyfield versus Usyk at cruiserweight. Who wins?
That's a great question, brother. My answer might not be popular, but hear me out, okay?
You think Usyk wins?
Hear me out. Hear me out. When Holyfield fought at cruiser, it was 190, okay? When Usyk fought at cruiser, it was 200. Those 10 extra pounds, and I'm talking VADA testing, because Holyfield did some stuff. I love Holyfield, one of my favorite top 10 fighters ever. And I've met him, talked to him, we shot the shit on the phone for like an hour before while he was getting plowed. Fun story. But anyway, there was some shenanigans, okay? I'm saying with VADA testing, 200 pounds, I'm going to take Usyk by majority decision.
Really?
Yes. I think one judge has it for Holyfield, like 114, 112, something like that, maybe because there's a knockdown somewhere. And I think Usyk wins the other two scorecards, like 115, 113. But if you say Usyk, or I'm sorry, you say Holyfield, no argument from me. No argument for me at all. Dude, Usyk, southpaw style. Usyk is actually taller, longer, rangier.
Than Holyfield?
Yes, of course. Holyfield was listed at like 6'3" and shit. You've met him. It's like fucking 5'11". Now he's shrunk a little bit now.
I mean, age does that.
But seriously, Tyson, he looks like he's 5'9" when you meet Tyson.
Yeah.
Now. He looks really tiny, does he not?
He does.
Remember when we met Arnold Schwarzenegger? How
Tiny.
fucking tiny
Yeah,
he is?
he was.
But it's amazing. But age will do that to you. But also cycling off will do that to you. That's what I'm going to say about that. But Usyk is a legit. We've met Usyk. Now he's here on me. I'm 6'4". He's like right. He's a legit 6'3".
He's also a psychopath.
And he's got that Eastern European psycho gene. Eastern Europeans are crazy. And I just think he would box and turn Evander. Neutral site, neutral ref, neutral everything. I'm going to take Usyk 115, 113. I know that's not going to be popular, but that's.
Would you bet money on it?
Yes, I would. And let me tell you something. I'm starting to lean toward Usyk over Tyson Fury.
Really?
Yep. And
Decision?
Yep. And there's a lot of people that when that fight was first talked about, I was all Fury. But the more I'm thinking about it, and the more I'm seeing Fury doing a little white girl in Vegas, before he sings to Grandpa Bob, I'm starting to think Usyk takes that fight by decision. I'm
Really?
serious. Yeah. Call me crazy. Now maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe, it's this 1/5 of a drink I've had.
Can you win us some money so I can stop working?
I can't bet, baby. That's I'm not supposed to bet. That's a conflict of interest. I can help you guys. Bet.
All right. Next question. Ignacio Ortiz says, "Happy New Year."
Nacho, what's up, Nacho?
Mike and Tiff, would you come to San Diego for Chocolatito Strata 3? Which
Dude.
I am from San Diego.
We saw that, and I was like, listen, we might have to go out there. Her family's still out there, her parents and everything, and that's where she grew up.
Most of my family's still out there.
Yeah. We might have to do that. It just depends on. So I'm supposed to be training, hopefully, for a fight, and I've had a few options, but my gym here is closed. I think I told you guys, but the fucking roof caved in. So I have no place to spar. I have to spar if I'm going to fight. I can hit the bag and do it. I got to spar. And I don't want to spar like in a street corner somewhere like a bum. So I don't know what to do right now.
Rocky did it.
Yeah, he did it. Different era. I don't know what to do, man. So if I can't fight right now, maybe we'll come to San Diego for that fight.
And he says, do you think Virgil Ortiz fights Crawford this year?
Wow, that's a good question too.
Virgil Ortiz, is that the kid I don't like?
No, you like Virgil.
Okay.
You're thinking of someone else.
Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah. Virgil's always been a good to us. He's a good kid. His dad's awesome too. But the only way I see that fight happening, unfortunately, is if the sanctioning organization pushes it and enforces it. So I don't know. But I'll tell you something, I'd love to fucking see it. Do I think Virgil Ortiz is ready for Terrence Crawford? No. But look, I didn't think Teofimo Lopez was ready for Lomachenko. Somewhat different scenario there for a multitude of reasons. For one thing, Virgil Ortiz, maybe there are some parallels. Even if Virgil fought Bud and lost wide, so what? These young guys need to step the fuck up. I'm ready to see it. I hope we get it.
Midwest Boxing says, let's talk about the Smokeless Fire Pit.
Smokeless Fire Pit. We're going to crank that bitch up this week. Guys,
Yeah.
it was in the 70s this week. In the fucking 70s.
Today it's 38.
Yeah, today it's in the 30s. And the low is in the 20s. So we were walking around just with this t-shirt. That motherfuckers here, they're wearing coats and scarves and shit, And I'm laughing my ass off at these guys, but I couldn't do a fire on New Year's. I was bummed because I'm like, I'm gonna fucking do a fire. But now we can. So tonight, maybe tomorrow, we could do a fire. And the Smokeless Fire Pit works.
It does.
Gotta admit, I put some science into that shit. I did it right.
You did.
It's awesome.
You did good. All right, so Damian Edmondson says, will Canelo's dominance at super middleweight be romanticized to the point that the competition he had to go through ends up being remembered as tougher than it really was? That's a good question.
Absolutely, an outstanding question. And Damian, What you just said there, you articulated it better than I ever could because I'm half a moron.
3/4.
Maybe three-quarters. The way you articulated that is boxing business 101 in America going back generations. It's what Floyd Mayweather did and other fighters have done, okay? I could name a million examples, but what Canelo did this year with super middleweight, 10 years from now is going to be valued very, very differently because kids are going to go on BoxRec and amateur historians will go on BoxRec or whatever it is, and they'll see, wow, this dude was undefeated. Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, these guys had titles. They were undefeated. What weight did they start at? What weight did Canelo start at, right? They'll have no context. They won't know the fine print, the gray area between the black and the white. So over time, all that nuance, that detail kind of fades, and what you see is just the bold print. And the bold print on the resume will show he beat 3 undefeated guys at super middleweight, took their titles, cleaned it out within a year or so. It is a significant accomplishment, but is it the same division that Josh Taylor cleaned out? Is it the same division that Alexander Usyk cleaned out? No, it's not. But in time, none of that matters. So yes, that is the genius of what Canelo did this year, and it's the genius of what Floyd Mayweather did in the previous generation.
Okay, so one comment and then back to Canelo. Johnny Combat says, dude, some of the Siberians I used to spar when I was a teenager were mini Provodnikovs. You couldn't hit them dudes with a lamp and they ain't moving.
Yeah, those Eastern Europeans are fucking nuts.
And then Ko Matsuda says,
Ko Matsuda, what's up, man?
If you had to bet money on a current prospect to eventually beat Canelo, who would it be?
Wow.
Good question.
That's another good one because we could be talking several different weights, right? I'm gonna give the LDBC a plug here. Let's see Dave Morrell.
They're still gonna hate you.
Yeah, they're gonna hate me regardless. I'm gonna say Morrell, the super middleweight kid that they got right now. He's only got like 5 fights. The way they do business, the way they weight things out, and everything else. He'll be at 175 at that time too. Let's say 3-4 years from now, him and Canelo fight. Canelo's on his last leg. Yeah, maybe it's him.
When do you think Canelo's gonna retire?
Let's see. Man, the thing is, he can write his own ticket.
I can't imagine him being like a Manny, where like
no.
you know, he goes on.
He's not going to be a Pacquiao. He's going to be more like a Floyd. But he can fight because he's going to wait out Beterbiev and those guys to where they're kind of old and fight them at the right time and beat them by decision.
A Manny or a Floyd.
Floyd Manny. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. But after he beats those guys, what's left for him? I'd say he's going to fight for at least another 3 years. Yeah.
Nice.
Why wouldn't you? Did I miss a super chat in there?
Somebody just did one. Sam A.
Sam, what's up, man? That's Sam in New Orleans. Remember Sam?
Oh, yeah.
Big Sam, yeah.
I told you Boo Boo would duck.
Zanabek, yeah.
Like who's that? I disagree. One-sided.
With Fighter of the Year. One-sided fight. Also saw a betting line, Haney versus Kambosos in February, March. Yeah, so, okay, let's start with his mandatory. Are you guys surprised? Look, I'll say this. If Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade vacates his belt, moves up to 168, and this year, gets a fight with Canelo Alvarez, I won't talk any shit. If he fights Canelo at 168, good for him. He's going to get more money than Al-Khamenei could get him. And stylistically, I'm not going to say it's a more winnable fight, but it's moving up in weight, having an extra weight and everything. It's not that much of a loss to go up and fight Canelo, and you're making significantly more money. So I won't talk shit. But if he moves up and doesn't get the Canelo fight, he's just going to look like a fucking moron. It's going to be a bad business move on his end in a long line of bad business moves. Now, Sam, fight of the year. I think fight of the year was Estrada Chocolatito 2. That's my fight of the year. Ring Magazine outvoted me in like
That was a good fight.
the third fight between Fury and Wilder. So the Ring Magazine awards work just like the ratings, where it's like a democratic process. So I was outvoted on several of those, okay? But for me, it was Estrada Chocolatito too. That to me had the best back and forth with a great crescendo in the championship rounds, man.
All right, Check Hook 93 wants to know when you getting in the ring again.
Dude, I wanted to be back in the ring in fucking November. And I had an offer, I just recently got an offer to fight in Detroit in March. I can't be ready by then because I have nowhere to spar. My gym is shut down right now. So I'm trying to figure something out. I don't know if I'm gonna have to like move somewhere for a month or two, or I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure something out. But
A house to myself?
yeah, it's probably gonna be May. I'd like it to be sooner, but it's probably gonna be May, which is why I'm having an alcoholic beverage today and enjoying myself a little bit. But I'm thinking May.
All right. Jimbo says, you guys are a lovely couple. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimbo.
When will you come to the UK to cover a fight? Good luck in the new year with all your projects.
Well, when are we gonna go to the UK?
I don't know.
For the record,
We
we were
to.
this close, and then COVID hit. We were actually really, really close to coming out there for when, and then COVID broke. So that kind of screwed things up. And then my sister had babies, and then we're thinking about maybe doing that. So I don't know.
It might be a while.
So it still might be a while before we get over there, but it's absolutely on the bucket list. We've talked about this a million times. I mean,
Mike can go. You guys can get him trashed.
yeah, hey,
Just send him home in a
and maybe I'll just come. She could stay with my sister. Can come down and help her with the kid, and I'll come over there. Just as long as I get home in one piece and I don't go to jail
No
for
jail,
more than.
please.
Well, yeah, we've all been to jail for at least one night. You know.
No.
I've done a couple one-nighters. You know, that's no big deal. As long as I don't go to prison, we'll be okay. Because I know they get into like soccer hooligan fights over there. That shit sounds
Singing
fun.
Sweet Caroline.
Yes.
All right, so Tarmac One says, has the WBA made Tank Cambosos mandatory?
I don't know. I got to be honest, guys.
I hate Tank.
The last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've completely logged off. I mean, you guys have seen me on Twitter trolling and having fun. Holy shit, have I triggered some people? But I've become pretty good at that. But my email, my inbox, and all that, I've been straight up just staying away from the news. So I don't know. I'll find out. And if they have, that's interesting. It would also show how in bed with the PBC the WBA is. Because that's a move that's beneficial, obviously, for Team Tank and Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman, and et cetera, et cetera. So the WBA has been in business with the PBC for several years now. So that would be interesting if they did that. Meanwhile, they let Leo Santa Cruz hold on to a belt that he hasn't defended in like
Santa
2+
Cruz.
years.
What happened to him?
He cashed out against Tank, but he's going to fight again soon on pay-per-view.
Oh, he's not a pay-per-view fighter.
Tell that to the LDBC. You're going to be called a racist.
He's not
now.
a pay-per-view fighter. All right. Chris asks, David
Avanesian.
yeah, oh my God, versus Conor Ben, who wins?
Conor. At this stage, dude, Conor Ben wins that fight. Conor has really impressed me in 2021. He's a guy I'm really keeping a close eye on. And I think that this year I want to see him step up to that next level. Avanesian would be a good one. But I'm pretty high on Conor Ben now. Dude, if you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have laughed at you. I've been like, what the fuck are you talking about, Chris? But now, serious.
All right, Ignacio says, Mike, who do you think Munguia decides to fight for the title shot, Charlo or Andrade?
Munguia's not going to fight either of them. Munguia's going to fight Golovkin later this year. Trust me on that.
Really?
Yeah. He's not going to fight either of those. He's going to fight Golovkin.
All right.
They got that worked out, trust me.
Jimbo says thoughts on Canelo.
Canelo Makabu, and fans thinking that Canelo's ducking, but Jimbo, any fans that think Canelo's ducking, Benavidez or
Canelo's not
Charlo
ducking
are
anyone.
fucking idiots. Now, at the same time, let me be fair. McAboo is a title pluck. It's a 5th title in a 5th weight class. The casual fans eat that shit up. The amateur historians eat that shit up. We all know that both Benavidez and Charlo would be a tougher fight than McAboo. I'm just going to put that out there. So would Bivol, so would Beterbiev, so would Joe Smith. They're all better fighters than McAboo, okay? So is Andre, in fairness. So is Golovkin for a 3rd time, even though he's 500 years old. But McAboo's easy pickings, the optics of it will look interesting because it's like, whoa, this really, really big guy. He fights in this 200-pound, well, now it's 190-pound weight class. And Canelo has to move up, even though he walks around at a $188. $180, what was the one time? It was, I think it's 188.
Yeah,
we saw.
like that.
So yeah, it's not going to be hard for him to fight at 190. It's business. It's business. But do I think he's ducking anybody? No. He's the guy in charge, and he could be like, look, dude, you're going to do this shit on my terms. Right now, I'm going to fight this stiff and get another belt. Bada bing, bada boom. We'll fight later. That's it.
Giuseppe LaRocca.
Giuseppe, yeah, that's my middle
says,
name. Giuseppe LaRocca. Yeah, I know Joe. What's up, man?
Happy New. You know everybody, don't you?
Oh, these are my guys. These are my family.
Happy New Year, Mike. All the best.
You too, brother.
Keith Yazden says, what are your thoughts on Beterbiev Brown and Beterbiev standing at 175?
What's up, Keith? I actually covered that fight for ringtv.com, so you can find my recap there. From what I remember of that one, it kind of went the way I thought it would. I thought Brown would be competitive early on. I thought he put some leather on Beterbiev. Beterbiev looked a little slower than normal with his feet. He didn't cut the ring off very well. He kind of followed Brown around, but it really doesn't matter. He is just a bruising, punishing kind of fighter. He's got a little bit of Rocky Marciano in him. He's not quite as athletic as Rocky Marciano was, but he's got that brute strength. Pound for pound, he might be the strongest guy in boxing, maybe the strongest guy in fight sports. It's between him and Khabib over there in UFC. Just in terms of just natural, raw strength. The dude is just a powerhouse. And he just bludgeons and beats you down. And that's what he did to Brown. People that said Marcus Brown quit are assholes. That dude fought with everything he had, and he tried to cheat, he tried to get dirty, he used his head, he used his forearms. I don't blame him, it's a fight. But to say he quit is disrespectful. I thought that Brown just had the fight beat out of him. Beterbiev is number 1 at 175.
Giuseppe says, do I have a favorite fighter?
That's a good question.
I like fighters who are from overseas. I think that they are hungrier and they're better than the American ones, current day fighters. I'll just leave it at that.
So who's your favorite?
I don't know if I really have a favorite because I feel like the stables are constantly changing. Like Klitschko's retired.
You like Vlad.
Gennady's kind of his way out. I like Loma.
You liked Manny.
I did, but he's retired. You know, I like Usyk.
You
Fury.
like Nonito?
Oh, I do like Nonito.
He's American.
Yeah,
he's
one
born
of the few.
over there.
That's what I mean, though. Like, is he like considered American or is
I
he
would consider
considered
him American.
Filipino?
That depends who you talk to.
Exactly.
We get into a whole philosophical discussion there.
So I don't know if I have like a favorite, but you know, there are fighters I like, and I'll watch. I'm more interested in watching versus others. There was a good question here. Ko Matsuda.
Oh, CJ's okay. Ko Matsuda. Okay.
Says, do you think there is an argument that having decent achievements in a great era is more impressive than having great achievements in a weak era?
Yeah, another good question, Ko.
I would say decent achievements in a great era are more impressive.
I think you absolutely have an argument there. That's kind of a chicken and egg argument. If you look at some of the, let's just stick with the heavyweight division, okay? Some of the most dominant heavyweights that reigned for the longest time, right? You're talking Larry Holmes, Joe Louis, Vladimir Klitschko, those guys reigned in relatively weak eras. Mike Tyson fought in a relatively weak era during the peak of his career in the 80s. In the 90s, that was a good era, and he wasn't nearly as good in that era. So it kind of showed a difference there. But then you look at some of the more popular heavyweights of all time, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, there's a million others I could name. They didn't reign as champion long. Even if you look at Ali, his reign wasn't that long. Now there's a couple different reasons for that, both inside and outside the ring. But the heavyweight title changed hands more frequently in the 70s and the 90s and some of these other eras because maybe it was more competitive. So what do you rate better? A guy who maybe had more losses and was knocked out or whatever, but fought in a more competitive era, or a guy that showed up for work in shape every day for 10 years and owned the division for 10 years? You can make an argument both ways. I personally respect both. I respect both. But when I look at my top 10 heavyweights, like I have guys like, I rate Joe Louis #1. And a lot of people are like, dude, his era was shit. I just look at what Joe Louis did in this country for civil rights in terms of sports. He was the first true Black American sports hero. He was a Detroit guy, so that makes me a little biased. He had an exciting style. He came back from a devastating knockout loss and beat the guy who knocked him out. That is big to me. And he reigned for so long. And he paved the way for guys like Ali and even for guys like Marciano. That might sound crazy to some of you, that an African American paved the way for an Italian American, but there are books written about that. And I could do an hour-long video breaking that down. He truly did. So I have a tremendous respect for Joe Louis, and he's #1 in my book.
All right, so hi CJ. CJ
CJ,
says,
what's up, man?
Best wishes, you two. When you coming back out west?
We haven't been to Vegas. What?
Or California.
Yeah, we haven't been to California.
Since
I'm just
COVID.
thinking, but Vegas for a fight, was it
Oh, a long time ago.
2018 Canelo Golovkin?
Yes, when we
The
missed our
rematch?
flight.
We missed our fucking flight. We missed our flight home. Oh God, that was a clusterfuck. How did we miss our fucking flight?
Because it was at midnight, and we just weren't thinking.
Were we
Like,
drunk?
or I wasn't. No, I wasn't thinking.
Yeah, she's
And
the brains.
because it was midnight. I was thinking midnight the next day, but it was midnight that
Oh,
night.
because you know how the AM PM thing
And
will
it
fuck
just,
you up.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit,
When we
Missed
covered the rematch of
Good
Canelo
times.
Golovkin,
3.
no,
Isn't it?
no, it was 2. They've only fought twice,
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
and we had just moved here.
Yes.
And we missed our fucking flight home. That was a catastrophe.
So that
But
cost an extra $600.
that's the last time we were in
$700.
Vegas?
Yeah, that was the last
We've
time.
been to LA since then a couple times.
Yeah, I
but,
have to go.
but damn, dude, yeah, we need to get back out there, CJ. But I'd rather probably go to Vegas before LA right now because of all the crazy shit going on in LA. So maybe this year.
Midwest Boxing says, Mike, what's your favorite bottle so I can send it to you?
Oh, shit. Well, let's see. What's the most expensive bottle? I'm not that picky, dude. If it's something like special that I'm gonna sip on, a good bourbon.
We do have a bottle of like special rum we bought at
Yeah.
this random rum distillery.
We
in
drove to the ocean.
Brunswick, Georgia.
On the way to the ocean here, we found this little town called Brunswick, Georgia. When I think Brunswick, I think New Brunswick, I think New Jersey, but they have a Brunswick down here, and they had this brewery, this rum
Yeah,
place.
so I got tickets for his birthday and we
Yeah,
went
it was my
and we
birthday.
got trashed.
Yeah, well, they took us. They were friendly as hell. They were really,
Yes.
really good to us, and they knew we were not from around there. They knew we were from out of town. And you said it was my birthday, so they brought us in the back, where like the barrels are and all that shit, and they like would take it out of there and have us sample it.
Yeah, but then the guy who was working gave us like this stuff that
The shit was like
it
190
was
proof.
like hand sanitizers.
It was straight alcohol, and he had
disgusting.
his accent, because I mean, he was like a country guy.
Yeah, he's so nice though.
Nice as fuck. Nicest guy ever. But his accent was so thick. He would just like say a bunch of shit and we'd just go, yeah. We had no fucking idea what he said. But he pulled out this bottle, and he was drinking it back there while he worked.
I think he did like a shot with us.
He did a fucking while he was working back there. But, and I guess he said that's what they do. At least I think it was hard to understand him. But somewhere along in the process of what they're doing this rum, it's like super, super strong, and it literally tastes like fucking rubbing alcohol. One shot of that, dude, I was like,
Yeah, I drove home that day.
yeah, wow, yeah.
All right, so D3440
Thank you, Deed, and thank you, Matt,
and Matt.
Thank you, gentlemen. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
George says.
We just paid for our drink.
I know, thank you.
I'm just joking. We're going to use it for the studio.
Who do you think Zoo? Was it
Zoo
will fight in 2022?
Well, he's trying to get lined up for a title shot. So I think he's technically in line for one of Castaño's belts, but Castaño, of course, is going to fight Charlo. And when is that, guys? Is that February? March? Correct me if I'm wrong. I've tuned out the last couple weeks. I've just been doing family time. But I want to say that rematch, they're talking about February or March. For the record, that is set up for Charlo to win. Sorry, but that is set up for Charlo to win the fight. Charlo's going to win that fight by decision. And then Zoo will be in line for one of those belts. And it will either be, now no way Charlo's going to Australia, so Zoo will have to come here. So either that gets negotiated or Charlo dumps one of the belts and Zoo fights for a vacant belt over there in Australia. Either one of those. All right, Johnny says February 26th. So by the end of the year, Zoo should fight for either a vacant belt or he'll fight Charlo here in like Vegas or something.
Okay.
Huh?
Nothing. I was going to ask what his weight division was. You answered the question. All right, so Johnny says, should Crawford just stay with Bob and fight Josh Taylor, considering they're making him jump through hoops to get to Spence again? Whatever happened to Spence? I think it would be a smart move, honestly, to top 5 pound-for-pounders.
Johnny, if I was him, that's what I would do. I would hang out and fight this spring against, name a fighter, whoever you want. And then later this year, fight Taylor moving up. And if you could negotiate like a 2-fight deal with Bob, or maybe a 3-fight deal, the second fight's Taylor, then the third fight is a different kind of option, that's what I would do if I were Crawford. Because it's obvious if he goes to PBC, I don't know how it's going to work out over there. But now look, if he could go to PBC and say, listen, I want a gimme fight, tune-up, and then I want the Spence Ugas winner, and then I want the Charlo Castaño winner. And they can write that into a contract. I'd rather go that route. It's up to Bud.
He should go to Golden Boy.
Golden Boy ain't got shit for him. Ain't got shit for him.
All right, so Ignacio says, Mike, do you have Jose Ramirez versus Pedraza? And if Josh Taylor wins against Catterall, how does Jose Zepeda next?
Zepeda next.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I can't read anymore.
Ramirez will beat Pedraza. That's going to be a hell of a fucking fight. Taylor's going to beat Catterall. And then I like Taylor and Zepeda. Or a Ramirez-Zepeda rematch. How about that? Either one of those work for me. Listen, man, Top Rank is set up really, really well over this year and the next couple of years in certain divisions. They've invested really, really well. They just signed a bunch of prospects, but they've got guys that are going to be moving up in weight. Taylor is going to move to 47 and such. They're set up very, very well. I think they have a good thing going at ESPN. It's limited, but with the app and the UFC deal on the app that's kind of funding everything else, they're really set up well. So I would like to see, I think Ramirez beats Pedraza. I'd like to see him against Zepeda again. But if Zepeda wants to go for a title and Taylor wants to hang around, I'd love to see that, dude. Either one of those, sign me up.
Giuseppe says, in your opinion, Mike, how can boxing get back to its glory days of the 70s, 80s, and 90s? Or is it just a pipe dream? Great question.
Just a pipe dream.
I agree.
just a pipe dream. In America, globally, boxing is bigger than it's ever been. So if you live in the UK, if you live in Uzbekistan, if you live in Japan, Mexico, of course, but boxing is doing very, very well. There's a growing scene in Italy, Spain. You're good. Here in America, we're always going to kind of be the king in one way, right? Because people are going to come here for the big fights, Vegas and such. But what we're going to start lacking here, and this is something Steve Kim tweeted about yesterday, and I kind of responded to it, in between the beating I was taking from some of the blue checkmark brigade. We need stars here in America. And I think we can have niche stars. I think we can have stars that appeal to a certain ethnic demographic or regional demographic, or even a certain segment of the entertainment industry. Like Gervonta Davis will appeal to the hip hop community, Floyd Mayweather fans, the black reality TV entertainment crowd in Atlanta and stuff. And Virgil Ortiz will appeal to Mexican Americans in Texas and California. But is either one of those guys going to be a breakout crossover star like Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao or Oscar De La Hoya? I don't know about that. Are they even going to be as large as a Canelo Alvarez? I don't know about that. I just don't. Jaron Ennis, another guy. Is he going to break through? I don't know, man. And what you need more than anything else, dude, is crossover stars. And if you don't have that, just a pipe dream. Sorry to be depressing, but.
Alisher says, hello guys from Kazakhstan. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, brother.
Tony Rodriguez says, if Canelo Triple G trilogy goes down in 2022, how do you think it goes down?
Canelo wins at this point. Canelo wins. Go get another round, baby. I'll do the questions. Just, unplug there. All right, guys. I will man the operation here. So we got Tiffany's phone pulled up. Look at that. Isn't that freaky? And then I got your questions here. Hopefully you guys can hear us okay. We just have a little lav mic. Let's see. Nacho says, February 26th in Texas, Charlo Castaño, yep. Tony Rodriguez says Top Rank owns 122 to 140 generally. Yeah, man. And they've got significant influence at 175, heavyweight, right? So they're set up pretty well. They've got some prospects in some other divisions too. Johnny says, the reason I say that is because some of these dudes act like Bud is going to get a Spence fight the second he signs with Heyman, and we both know that's not the case. Yeah, I'm with you, man. And that's not how Heyman does business. And even if Bud came to Al and said, listen, I want a Spence fight next, Heyman and his guys are going to sit him down and say, listen, man, we need to build this shit for a couple of years. You need to fight Garcia, Danny Garcia, then maybe Mikey Garcia, and Keith Thurman, and fight these guys and build up the fight with Spence. That's how they do business. And we're going to pay you X amount, millions of dollars. We're going to pay you twice what that evil little bastard over there at Top Rank paid you. They're going to use different language than I just used. And Bud might be like, okay, cool. I get $6 million to fight this guy. I get $7 million to fight that guy. Shit, okay. I fight Spence at 154 in 2024. All right, cool. I cash out at that fight. So that might be the route he wants to go. It's really up to Bud, guys. It's up to him. Damn, that was fast. Oh, that's your drink? Okay. Let's see. Johnny says, a lot of people criticize Aram, but he put on some pretty good fucking fights the past year. And we had Loma, Teofimo, Taylor Ramirez for Undisputed, and the Fury Wilder saga, Crawford Porter. Yeah, man, look, I thought Aram misplayed a few moves this year, 2021, I should say, last year, but he also had some home runs. Now, as good a fight as Taylor Ramirez was, it was a terrible promotion. Terrible. And it went for the money with the casino deal rather than putting it on in Texas for political reasons and financial, but also political, where they could have done a massive fucking crowd for that fight. So they made some mistakes, but overall they had they had a good year, and they're set up for really, really good stuff down the road. See, Sam says, Bob Arum said he could have bought a home in Beverly Hills with the losses from Crawford's last 3 fights, or at least your condo in Koreatown. Yeah, I remember him saying that. Grandpa Bob doesn't hold back with shit like that. Nacho says, normally PBC sucks at developing prospects, but that kid Frank the Ghost Martin looks legit. I agree with you. Looks legit. He just beat Romero Duno. That's a good win for him at this point in his career. Here's the thing, dude, and here's my issue with PBC, the way they build prospects. How many times have we been right here with Martin? Okay, let's stick with Frank Martin, where he's at beating a guy like Romero Duno. At this point, we're like, whoa, we're paying attention. Now let's see a build. From here, let's see boom, boom, right? A couple more steps up the ladder. But here's generally what we get with PBC. We're here, and this dude's just gonna stay like this. It's gonna be a fucking plateau, and then it'll be boom, a title shot.
It's more like this.
Yeah. We've seen it time after. Luis Ortiz, I got a big argument with a bunch of people on fucking Twitter yesterday. In 2015, Luis Ortiz beat Bryant Jennings and Tony Thompson, I think it was. It had been the beginning of 2016. Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
Still going. He has had a
I feel
couple
like
good
I
fights
ask
recently.
this question a lot. Whatever happened to so-and-so?
It's a lot of American fighters. But 2015, he had a good year. And then 2016, I want to say Luis Ortiz fought like 4 times. And I was really high on him at that point because I'm like, okay, dude, he just beat Bryant Jennings at this stage of his career, Tony Thompson. Here's some good wins. Let's see the build. No build. 2 cash outs against Wilder, and that's it. So you see that fizzle out with a lot of the PBC guys. Hopefully with Martin, we see this build from here. Because right now, I'm intrigued. But you got to build on this. This isn't a fucking landing pad. This is a launching pad. All right, so that was Nacho. So
I'm like, where are you?
I'm right there. I just read that one. So anywhere from Chris down.
Chris says, did you hear the Khan versus Brook fight sold out in 10 minutes?
I heard that, and I'm not surprised. You guys over there love your boxing, and those 2 guys hate each other.
They're fighting?
Yes, finally. And that's going to be a fun event. If I was over there, I'd be covering it. I know that much.
We should go.
Shit.
USC Trojan says, how long do you think Bob Arum is going to last with us? I got under negative 5 years.
Okay. So Sanchez setting the over-under at 5 years. Well, he just turned 90.
Betty White almost made it to 100.
Betty White, dude, 17 days short of 100. Betty White. John Madden just died at 85. By the way, if you guys haven't seen the All Madden documentary, it's available if you have ESPN Plus, which I assume you do if you're watching this. Check it out. That was very well done, and it brought back a lot of wonderful memories. Like, he was the voice of football for so long, and after he got out of football, hasn't been the same. Anyway, I'm gonna go over, dude. I'm gonna say Arum lives to like 97, 98.
You think he's going to do it until the day he dies? I think so.
Or very, very close. He'll do it to where he has a stroke, and his left side he can't
He's
talk.
still going to do it.
He'll be in a wheelchair or some shit coming to the.
Yeah.
But he'll have somebody else running the shit, and he'll just be like, fucking, I hate these judges, and the last few years of his life, he'll be like that.
He'll be like still.
But he'll be so zooted on fucking weed that he won't give a shit. And yeah, I think he'll promote till he's like 95 and live till he's like 97, 98.
All right, so Giuseppe says, do you have any idea how to get into boxing as a ref? I live in Florida and was watching Ortiz versus Martin, and the ref seemed inept. What is the pay like? LOL.
The pay is shit. But if you want to get involved there in Florida, DM me. I can get you in touch with people. But you're going to start in the amateurs. You're going to start reffing kids' fights and shit like that.
Start at the bottom.
You're going to start at the bottom, but I know some people there that could get you connected. So just DM me.
All right, so I'm not sure what this question is in reference to previously, but Ignacio says, if you were his manager or trainer, who would you match Tiafimo with next? Oh, sorry.
Good question. Really good question. If I were in Tiafimo's team, I get him the fuck away from his dad. I would get him up to 140 and I get him in there. Man, Zepeda might be too much for him. I was just going to say Zepeda, but it's probably too much for him right now. Ramirez is too much. A guy like Pedraza would probably work, but he's fighting Ramirez, obviously. Somebody on that level. I'm trying to think of who else Top Rank has at 40. Or even 35 that they could bring up 5 pounds. But I think he needs to fight at 140 against a guy like Pedraza level next. Build that confidence up and go from there. But that's what I would do.
Look, it's Trey.
Trey, what's up, Trey? How you doing, man? I don't think I took Trey in this place. We were next door, Trey.
You might have been too drunk to remember.
And somehow a mic stand got stolen from the stage and carried to my house. I don't know how that happened, but I'll just leave it at that.
Sam A says, were you surprised to hear Porter beat Usyk in 2007 amateurs at 165?
Not at all. Let me tell you about that, because a lot of people bring that up. I think Usyk had been boxing for like 1 year, and I want to say Porter had been boxing for 3 or 4 years. So in terms of experience, Usyk was a pup, and Porter was pretty advanced in experience. He had way more fights than Usyk, so it doesn't surprise me one iota. If you look at the trajectory of their amateur careers after that, Usyk improved. Usyk lost, I want to say, like half of his first 10 fights as an amateur. Seriously, look it up. Don't trust me. Look it up. Yes, he was like 500 when he fought Porter, or right around that time he was like 500. After all those losses, he hit a growth spurt, he got taller, and he excelled. And he ended up going to the fucking Olympics and winning a gold medal, something Porter never did. And look what he's done as a pro. So for people to try to hold that over Usyk's head, that's just another one of those casual things. The guys brought that up the other day on the PBC pay-per-view, and I wanted to like respond on Twitter. I just let it go because I had already been getting it handed to me all weekend. But it's the amateurs, guys. And it's like Claressa Shields got beat in the amateurs by Savannah Marshall, but again, it's a similar thing. Savannah Marshall had way more experience and was older and more mature when she fought Claressa. In the pros, it might look very, very different. You know what I'm saying?
Cocinado a la Chato.
What? Where are you looking?
That's a great name. Canelo is the biggest fraud since Primo
Carnera. Jesus Christ. I ain't touching that one, dude. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. We'll leave it at that.
Ku Fujitsu says, who would you bet on getting the next crack at Canelo?
Makabu. I think Makabu has an interim fight coming up. He's going to win that fight. Boo ain't getting it. It's going to be Makabu. That's where they want to go, and that's... Listen, guys, if you just do a little critical thinking, if you go back a month or so, over the last month or so in Canelo interviews, what's he been saying? I'm only going to fight twice next year. I'm not going to fight till like May, right? And then it just so happens the sanctioning body comes out and says Makabu has to fight this other dude, and the winner of that, right, can go forward. They're going to fight early this year, first quarter. So Makabu will win, and then he'll fight Canelo around May. It's all worked out.
USC Trojan says, have you guys seen Cobra Kai? Season 4 is filmed in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I have not.
I saw the first season.
I don't like the way it's filmed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she wasn't feeling the first season.
And it's the, I don't know how to explain it.
Modern TV.
I don't like modern TV.
So I thought about doing a Montero on TV podcast, but it's the jump cuts.
I don't like it.
It's everything being on. It's line, punch line, punch line. Everything's just, it's too on.
Just tell a story.
Since I'm old and I grew up with Karate Kid.
I'm not old.
I enjoyed the first season.
I still liked Karate Kid.
I enjoyed the first season.
I did not.
I was like, get the fuck out of here. I don't pay for this shit. If it's free now, I'll check it out. But honestly, guys, everyone recommends these fucking shows to us. We don't watch that much TV, man. Most of the TV we watch.
Terrible.
Yeah, a lot of it is fucking terrible. I have been watching. We've been watching the new Dexter.
It's slow though.
It's gotten better
really
though.
slow.
It's gotten better the last couple.
It has, but it's still slow. Like the old Dexter, we would have been here by now. Like,
well,
it
you know
shouldn't
why?
have taken all season to get
They're doing
here.
what they always do. They're
I
taking what should
know.
be a season and stretching it into
I
3
know,
seasons.
but my point is that old Dexter didn't do that. New Dexter is.
Well, the last 2 seasons of old Dexter did that. But yes,
I know.
yes. Although I will say, last night's episode, pretty entertaining.
Yeah, but that would have been episode like 3 in season 3.
Yeah, probably, probably.
Okay, now I lost.
Back to the chat.
I was like, now I lost.
Back to
where
the
I was.
chat.
Anthony Santiago says, I think a big reason why it is hard to see another crossover star in the U.S. is due to lack of personalities boxers have today.
I think that's part of it. So let me just elaborate on that for real quick. Okay. You guys know I've met hundreds of fucking boxers. Most boxers grow up in working class environments. I can relate because I did too. I grew up in a fucking trailer park. Teenage parents weren't even old enough to buy a beer when they had me. So I understand the mentality. It's a hard mentality to break. But thinking about something bigger than yourself and being a medium fish in a huge pond versus a big fish in a tiny pond, right? A lot of these dudes, let's say you grow up in Clearwater, Florida, like Keith Thurman or something like that.
Keith Thurman, what happened to him?
He's fighting in a month on pay-per-view.
Oh God!
Yes,
He's not a pay-per-view fighter.
Hey, yeah, you're gonna get the R word. but even though, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I digress.
These guys will make a little bit of money. These guys will get $500,000, whatever it is. And $500,000, if you live in Detroit, Michigan, let's say, I'll stick with my hometown. You can buy a nice house, okay, in a middle-class neighborhood. A $200,000-$300,000 house there is really, really nice. You can buy a new car, boom. And they're 25 years old, they got a house that's paid for, and a car that's paid for, and in their mind, they're thinking, I got it fucking made. I made it. I did it. And that's where, right? So it's the long climb to the middle. Enjoy your long climb to the middle, right? That's an expression someone once told me. It's like, do you want to climb to the middle or do you want to climb to the top? You have to keep challenging yourself. You have to keep going. That's the one thing I'll say about Floyd Mayweather. He could have stopped at any point. He kept going, right? Floyd is a multi-cajillionaire because he kept challenging himself. And yes.
I'm like, but he also waited to fight fighters.
Well, he manipulated an ignorant fan base, but he knew how to manipulate them. These guys out there, they don't know, they don't have that sophistication. And they make a few $100,000, maybe even $1 million. Guys, that ain't shit.
Yeah,
you think you're gonna, if you're 30 years old, $1 million ain't gonna last you the rest of your life.
Unless you know how to save and invest.
Guys like Danny, something about the Philly fighters, Danny Garcia, Julian J. Rock Williams, these guys from Philly, there's something there's like a Philly hustle where they know to invest their money right, and they do pretty well. But a lot of these other guys, particularly the Al Heyman guys, because you always hear Al Heyman has his fighters invested, a lot of these motherfuckers are broke. Adrian Browner, how many big, high-level fights has he been in? He's fucking broke, dude. These guys get a little bit of money, they think they made it. That's the biggest problem, dude. You gotta stay humble and realize you ain't made it.
All right, next question. Jacob Torres says, why is Andrade suddenly not interested in his mandatory now that Zanabek is there? Hasn't mentioned his name once.
Gee, I don't know. Maybe it's because Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade has an agenda and he's a little bit full of shit. Maybe. Maybe because he's indicative of the problem with American boxing right now. He's a little entitled, a little delusional. He is the epitome of a guy that in his little area there in Providence has a little following. outside of that, outside of boxing hipsters, diehard boxing fans, no one knows who the fuck he is. He could walk here into this bar and people would be like, wow, what a weird dude. Maybe he's a bass player in a funk band or some shit, but they wouldn't fucking know he's a fighter. You know what I'm saying? So, but in his mind, but in fairness, he's gotten guys like Eddie Hearn to give him 7 figures to beat up on C-level guys. So, all power to him, but at his point, he wants to fight Canelo. Look, if he can negotiate him and Eddie, crazy cousin Eddie, if they can work out a fight between him and Canelo, all is forgiven. And then we'll find out. He can put up or shut up. Let's see if he does better than Billy Joe Saunders. Let's see if he does better than Caleb Plant, Callum Smith. If he does, cool. If he doesn't, he's no better than those guys. And you guys have heard me diss those guys and clown on them.
All right, Bang Mateo.
Bang Mateo with the super chat. Thank you very, very much. Says, Happy New Year, Mike and Tiffany. Watch the movie Don't Look Up. We watched that shit. Don't Look Up. Watch the movie Don't Look Up. It's pretty cool.
I fell asleep halfway through.
Oh shit. I watched it. So we were at my sister's house, and we watched it with me, my sister, Tiff, my brother-in-law. We had put Luca to bed, but Enzo was up, because Enzo, you have to feed him, and she's only a month old, right? So he was like, we were taking turns holding him and feeding him and shit.
Jen and I were taking turns.
Okay, us boys, we were watching the movie. I'll say this about Don't Look Up. It got too judgmental and predictable for me. I knew what the last half hour of that film, I knew what they were gonna do. Everything that kept happening, I'm like, oh. Even the first 5 minutes, remember we knew what some of the characters would look like?
Yes. That was at the beginning, though.
I know. When they called the head of NASA, I'm like, it's going to be spot on. You just
we knew Meryl Streep was going to be the president.
Yeah. The president's going to be female. You just knew, right? And I get it. That's Hollywood, not whatever. But the first hour of that movie was a lot of fun and interesting, and I thought they did a good job. But last half hour or so, it just went down this predictable road, and everything that happened I called, and it was just like, I was a little disappointed. It could have ended better.
Glenn R. says, good morning from Sydney.
Oh, hey man, we have a lot of listeners and followers in Australia. We really, really, and it sucks because we've had over a dozen, maybe over 20 shirt orders from Australia. We haven't been able to send one of them, and I'm so pissed because I want to send you guys your shirts.
But the shipping's like $50.
No, it was like 100. I went recently to the damn post office. They wanted to charge me a fucking $100. I'm like, it's a t-shirt. It weighs like 8 ounces. I blow a load that weighs it more than this fucking t-shirt. They don't care. We're up on a balcony.
We're in a public place.
I'm just saying. So we love our Australian fun. Good morning to you. Good day. Good morning. You're contacting us from the future. That's what I always say about us. You guys are back to the future there in Australia.
Lionel says, will Charlo Castano 2 be pay-per-view? Sure hope not.
Jesus Christ, if it is. I don't think it will be. Here's why I say that. They already have the January pay-per-view, right? And then we know in February it's going to be Thurman. I think they're going to use the Thurman pay-per-view to market the Charlo Castano fight. And then, or is that one in March? I can't even remember anymore. Spence Ugas is definitely going to be pay-per-view, and that's either March or April. So between those, they're going to have one pay-per-view per month. And here's what I think PBC has decided what they're going to do, guys. And I told you this years ago, and I got called all sorts of names. So did Steve Kim, Doug Fisher, a few of us that actually told the truth because we saw the writing on the wall. Those guys more than me. They want to be the UFC of boxing. They want to do a pay-per-view per month. And that's probably, it's almost going to be that this year. Don't be surprised if you get at least 10 pay-per-views for people. Now maybe it's only 7 or 8, but that's enough. They're working their way up to almost a pay-per-view a month. And some of them will be $40, some of them will be $80. But that's what they're working on. And they're hoping that in their little universe, they can sell enough of those. And it doesn't matter what Top Rank and Matchroom and those guys do. They've got their own little thing going, and they just care about their little niche audience, and that's it. I think it's bad for American
What about
boxing.
expanding your, clientele
I think it's
and
destroying-
your viewership?
I think it's destroying the sport in this country, but hey, get these guys paid.
Max Palacio says, thought you guys were the same age, no offense. Are you saying Mike looks young, or are you saying I look old?
The lighting isn't good in here, so it's probably not helping either of us.
I don't know. I look good either way. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Papa Chubby says, Tiff, Mike is hitting about a move to Detroit. Mike has asked me to move to Detroit about every other day.
Chad, that's Chad. So Chad's the guy I was telling you about, Ontario.
Yeah,
He-
I'm not moving to Detroit.
Chad, I told her, as good as we have it in Atlanta,
No.
we can move to Detroit and buy, and I'm not exaggerating, we could buy a motherfucking castle.
Do I look like a snow 6 months a year person?
It's not, it's 3 months.
Miserable?
Chad, tell her, it's
No,
three
no.
fucking months.
His family from Detroit will tell me that it's like
Oh, they're
6
just
months
complaining.
of misery.
They're just Catholic and like to complain about everything.
I can't do that.
Lake St. Clair, we could get a castle built in
Nope.
like 1910.
Nope.
And like brick and stone and all
Nope.
this shit on the motherfucking
Take
lake.
that castle and move it to somewhere warmer,
on
and
the
I'm good.
lake, dude. And you get beautiful fucking snow 3 months a year where you're
Yeah,
looking on the lake
no,
and,
and then you get
snow.
another 3 months of like horrible, ugly, miserable snow.
Look, he just said you could own a whole city block in Detroit.
And what does that mean for the future? Nothing.
We could open up a bar. We could open up a restaurant. We could open up a
Nothing.
boxing bar.
It means nothing.
It means plenty.
Once I die, it
she
means
just
nothing.
called where my whole family's from nothing. That's racist.
You left. You
I know.
left.
Yeah. But we could come back as millionaires. No, not millionaires.
And then what does
But they
that
would
mean?
think we're millionaires because we'd have a car that runs on gas. They would-
What?
I'm just saying, we wouldn't live in a trailer. Like compared to where I started, it
Oh
would
my
be.
god. All right, back to the questions. Why is Andrade always playing the victim role? Wasn't he officially the first one to avoid Charlo back when he was working with PPC? Asked Jason Costa.
Good stuff. Spot on. But you guys know how it works these days. Something doesn't go your way, play the victim role, and there will be people out there that got your back. Because there's people out there that love to help the victim and fight the power. And so I think Andre has tapped into that. It's a small group of fight fans that salivate, like Chris Mannix, right? He wakes up every morning and takes his morning shit, and while he's wiping his ass, he imagines Demetrius Andrade's uncut cock glistening in
That's
the
a
shower.
horrible visual.
I'm just saying, it's a small percentage.
God.
It's a small percentage.
Glad I'm not on listening every day.
That's just some of the real content you get here on my channel. But this is my channel, so I can open up a little bit. But no, seriously, Chris knows I'm just fucking with him. If Chris is watching, me and Chris have gone back and forth playing. He knows I'm just fucking with him. I like Chris. He's
You're
a good
talking
guy.
about his cock?
I was talking about Demetrius Andrade's cock.
You're talking about him looking at Demetrius Andrade's
Well, he
cock.
wipes his ass for his morning shit. Hey, but Chris trolls about that fight between Andrade and Charlo. Look, there's, unfortunately, because of where we're at, and I'm not going to get political, in our current societal dynamic, playing the victim scores you points, particularly on social media, exclusively on Twitter. So that's what Demetrius Andre does. So far, it hasn't led to the big fight for him. And my philosophy is old school, just like Gennady Golovkin. Get in the ring and fucking fight instead of hijacking press conferences and wearing pirate costumes and trolling people on Twitter.
Just
like
create
Andre
a big
does.
drama show, in other words.
Create a big drama show. Demetrius Andre dresses like fucking
A weirdo.
a pirate and goes to a press conference and gets weird. And like, it's funny. We get what he's doing. It's fun. But outside of the 2% of us that are diehard boxing fans, no one knows who the fuck he is. Get in there and fight, man.
All right, USC Trojan says, when are you going to be in a pod with Ringside Reporter guys and Ringside Robbie? You've done their podcast.
Dude, I've done their podcast a few times. In fact, before my last fight in September, I went on their podcast. So I might have been on there after that fight too, talking about it. I know for sure I was on their podcast before my last fight, maybe a week or two before it. So their podcast is fun. Their callers are fucking idiots. Not all of them. But some of them are fucking whack jobs. But I would gladly do their show again anytime.
Giuseppe says, do you think PBC will dissolve? I can't imagine them lasting any longer. Who buys pay-per-view anymore? Haven't personally paid for one in years.
So I get asked this question a lot. Guys, I don't have any inside information. People talk about the Fox deal with PBC. Fox isn't ecstatic about the deal going on, but there's still executives at Fox, or tied to Fox, I should say, affiliated companies that are really, really good friends, like brothers, with some of the guys at PBC, and diehard boxing guys. There's still a few of them around. So PBC, to some extent, will exist for years to come. How that looks, I don't know, but they'll be around. There will be some sort of PBC universe for several years to come.
Sam A's comment about our Detroit conversation was, Windsor, Canada is the cleanest city I've ever seen, with strippers walking around outside. Mike would love that.
I will say this. Canadian women are very, very beautiful. I don't know what it is, but you cross the border from America to Canada and suddenly the BMI drops 20 points. I don't know what it is.
So why am I moving to Detroit?
Then well, fine, we'll move to Ontario, Canada. There you go. If you tended bar at one of those casinos, you could make $100,000 a year probably.
Okay.
They'd love you up there.
Let's see. Any other questions?
Anything else that's good?
Jacob Torres says Mannix has to be at least vicarious towards Andrade.
Who said that?
Jacob.
Maddox has to be at least bi-curious towards Andre. Hey man, you said that, not me.
I think that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Maybe take one or two more, guys, then we're gonna tap this thing off.
So, 2 asterisks says, looking like 2022 will not be as good as this past year. The year just started.
I'm
hopeful.
I want to be hopeful that this year's better. The one thing I am concerned about is Omicron delaying a lot of fights, dude, in the first quarter and maybe even the second quarter. And I think that these promoters got to get smart, and they have to start writing in the contract. Look, if both these guys have COVID and they want to fight, fuck it. You think about it, these guys are in immaculate conditioning. They're among the top 1% of the top 1% of human beings on earth in terms of their conditioning. If they got fucking Omicron, which is basically the common cold, as far as symptoms go, I don't want to get into this whole fucking back and forth. I know. People are going to be like, oh my God. Calm down.
Do it again.
Calm down. Everyone's going to die. Calm down. The world's going to end in 6 months. Calm down. Put a fucking mask on your cock. Calm down.
On your cock.
I swear, these guys put a mask on their fucking asshole before they take a shit at fucking Dairy Queen. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that came from. Guys, I don't want to get political, but these promoters have to write it into their contracts that, hey, you get COVID, we're still going forward with the fight. Something. Because too many fights, you guys got to think about this from a network executive perspective. If I work at a network, whether it's ESPN, Fox, whoever, I'm dedicating a certain amount of money and time, a time slot to this particular event. And if one of you guys gets COVID, it's canceled and all this. No, I'm not having it. Because here's the thing, with the NFL, the NBA, whoever, they have COVID protocol to where if the starting quarterback has COVID, boom, the second string guy comes in, right? Boxing, it's not always that easy. So the promoters have to start to get a little more clever the way they write these contracts. And I think they will. I think you guys are going to start to see some interesting clauses in the contracts coming in this year. I am going to be optimistic and say this year we get bigger fights than we got in 2021.
Bigger, better?
We're going to build back better.
I see what you did there.
You started it.
Is Sergio Martinez really fighting? He's a good-looking fighter.
Yeah, he's going to fight again. It is what it is, man. He's not going to challenge for a world title.
But he's 47. He's old.
Yeah, but, you know, like you said, he's a good-looking guy, so he's going to...
Yeah, but looks won't get you anywhere in the ring, per se.
No, but if he could get 10,000 people to buy his fight, cha-ching, so that's all he's going for, though.
He just needs money.
Yeah.
Is he running low on cash?
No, he's just bored. What else we got? We got a couple more guys, then we out of here.
Keith Yazdan said, did you see Charles Farrell's recent interview about how he fixed fights? How corrupt do you think judging is?
No, I did not. Charles Farrell. Send that to me because I'm curious. A lot of people talk about fixed fights in boxing and this, that, the other. Guys, a lot of that shit is just bullshit. A lot of that is just Sasquatch, flat earth shit.
Mike loves that stuff.
The type of true corruption that we see in boxing is more of the A side, B side type of thing. It's not like, hey, my fighter's going to win, right? Let's shake hands. Here's $1,000. It's not that kind of a thing where it's pre-scripted or whatever. It's more A side, B side, insider, outsider, that kind of thing, where it's kind of a wink, wink, nod, nod kind of thing going on. That's what exists in boxing. But fixed fights, guys taking dives, like that's all bullshit. That's just fucking bullshit. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, guys, it's been an hour and a half.
If you want to see me moron, thumbs up.
Moron. You just said moron.
Moron,
All right.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I know. All right, guys. Happy New Year, seriously.
Have a good year.
And we'll probably be back for TNC next week.
Mike will be back.
Yes.
I'll be cooking.
Back in the studio. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We're just hanging out, chilling, and having a couple of drinks. So this is my second drink right
We're
here.
going to continue to drink some more.
Might have one more and then go home and eat. So you guys have a great night, great week, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for humoring me.
Yes. Ciao.